In today's episode, Mike and I talk about how we got surprised at birthday parties in our past, and also, most importantly, how to open the dance floor. And then it really gets sideways, and we even talk about how we close the dance floor. So tune in.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Numark, and DJNTV Insiders.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the PHDJ podcast, your favorite podcast. And actually, we're recording this not live. I mean, I guess the day before it's released.
We're recording.
But we're recording. Yeah, we are. We are live. We are alive. More importantly, so I'm Joe Bunn. On the other end,
that's Mike. How's everybody?
It's Mike Walter, everybody.
It's weird, Joe, because we say welcome back, and actually we did a new lead-in just for 1 week while Tony redoes our intro.
That's true.
We've had new shows each week, because you
That's
and I
true.
were very diligent. 3 weeks ago, we recorded 3 shows, so we've been able to kind of dole them out to our loyal
Yes, we
listeners.
have.
But you and I have not sat face-to-face or Skype to Skype in
3
almost a
weeks?
month. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Tell us why, Mike. You've been on.
Well, if anybody follows me on social media, I'm sure they're aware of it and probably sick of seeing waterfalls, pictures of waterfalls. But
Me and my hot
Kelly,
wife in a bikini.
Kelly and I, 12 days in Iceland, which was just incredible. I don't know if anybody has it on their bucket list of places they'd like to go, but I would highly recommend it. And if you do, reach out to me. My wife and I would love to give you some advice about the country and where to go and everything else. It is not an inexpensive country to visit. That's something you should be aware, but it is just incredible. If you follow me on social media, I'm sure you're aware of it.
Well, yeah, man, it looked incredible. I was so hoping that you were going to run into my my guys from my Richmond office where they're at the same time you were.
Get out of here! Were they really?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a big country.
It's not that big a country, actually.
Maybe it's not.
The whole country is about the size of Ohio, about the state of Ohio.
That's what I was going to
And
ask.
so much of it is uninhabitable that the parts that can be inhabited are even smaller than that.
I feel like, though, they did the things that you've already done like 100 times, and you were more like in the outskirts,
Especially that first week. Kelly and I ventured out to the hinterlands of Iceland and where very few people go.
I'm going to go real ignorant here. What? I'm assuming everybody speaks English everywhere, but...
Well, Iceland has their own language, Icelandic, which is Scandinavian, and it's very similar to Sweden and Norway. But we had no problem finding people who spoke English. Almost every restaurant, when you opened up the menu, had the Icelandic side and the English side. We are, as Americans, I don't know how much you've traveled abroad, Joe. We are spoiled.
Yeah,
because
yes.
Everywhere Kelly and I have gone, we can think of a handful of places where we've ever had a challenge with, we went hiking in Germany once and we were really off the beaten path and we walked into a restaurant, no English menu, nobody spoke. But I mean, those examples, Morocco, the same thing happened. But those examples are few and far between.
Yeah.
When we travel, we're spoiled. Italy, Iceland, Germany, most places, you have no problem just speaking English.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely are spoiled.
And by the way, this trip was for our 5th anniversary. Our 5th anniversary was months ago, but Kelly and I had decided when we honeymooned.
Yeah.
And while we were away, you celebrated an anniversary, right?
I did.
You and Ainsley, 15?
15 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
awesome.
man. I think it's pretty awesome, too. We just hung out around here, went to a really good dinner one night, and then the next we parlayed it into a 2-day thing, and then did the spa thing on Friday, and then I worked all weekend.
Very nice.
So interesting enough for people that are watching, I notice, and y'all may notice that are watching, new microphones.
We have new microphones
for the PHDJ podcast, brought to you by
of our first sponsor. I think they were the first ones to sign on.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell us all about that, Joe?
EV, also known as Electro Voice, has sent us some sexy looking sounding new microphones. This is a RE27 and Mike's using a RE20, and you may actually see a rotation because we have several different ones to try out. Apparently these are what the creme de la creme of radio and podcasters use. So
I feel like Howard Stern now with like a professional.
I'm honestly, man, like this thing, I've got the shock mount on mine and everything. And, but what Mike was saying, my guy over at EV was, he was like, well, do you want to sound more like Seacrest or Rush Limbaugh? And I was like, man, I don't know. And he goes, well, I'll just send them all. Okay, well.
Can I look like Ryan Seacrest and sound like Rush Limbaugh? Can we pull that off? Could they somehow change this and make me look like Ryan Seacrest? Hey, and by the way, kudos to you, really, because you were the one that chased these sponsors. Some might say endlessly, but you chased them down. And when I was putting the new intro together for Tony T, I was writing Electro Voice and EV, and I thought to myself, there's been a new trend in businesses and marketing and branding in the last maybe decade or so, where so many companies are now using initials. We don't say Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. We say KFC. But I'd have to say, I think EV is maybe one of the first companies, or maybe the first company, because I think everyone knows them as EV rather than Electro Voice. So they were kind of one of the first ones to say, no, let's use our cool initials. And not just the full name. I only thought about it yesterday when I was writing the new intro for Tony T, which he promises us will be unveiled by next week. Hence the corny intro to this week.
Yes, new intro coming. So, Mike, do we want to?
So that's sponsor number one.
Yeah, do we want to tell?
Go ahead, dude. You brag. Go back, dude. Joe, brag, man. You close these deals, especially while I was away. So yeah, man. First of all, pat yourself on the back.
Okay.
And do a little bragging. Who else? Is there?
So Electro Voice is one, also known as EV, and then the other, drum roll, Mike, hit the desk. It actually sounds like a drum roll. Roland has come on board.
Yeah, with some of their cool controllers.
And I know that switchers, some video stuff, controllers. Yeah. So we're super excited, guys. We again, we started this thing a year and a half ago now, and as much as we love to help you guys, it always helps us out to have some sponsorship behind us. And obviously, I'm sure in the coming years, months, as long as we carry this thing on, they're going to want to do some cool stuff with you guys as well. But it just shows that they believe not only in the podcast, but they believe in you guys, the listeners. They know that our audience is their client or their customer. Exactly. You guys are DJs. I mean, most of the people I know.
The amount of listeners and the feedback our listeners give us, I think, is a big reason why. So
thank you all.
Cap, not just to you, but to the listeners.
Absolutely.
No doubt. And I realize Troy Ackerman's not going to come aboard because we talk about the guy every week anyway, and we sing the praises. So Troy's like, why should I cut you guys a check? You're always talking about DJ Event Planner anyway. I get my free plugs in. So anyway, love you, Troy.
Thanks, guys. But EV and Roland. So new intro coming. We got a. And we'll tell you a little bit about the project.
We're actually going to have
a little break. We're not going to take away too much from the content. Don't worry. Nobody panic. But let's get it going, Mike. We've been gone too long, or we haven't been face-to-face for too long. Put it that way.
Exactly. We've had weekly shows, but we haven't been face-to-face like this, like we do every Wednesday morning.
And it feels good to be back.
Oh, and by the way, we should tease next week, assuming the technology works out, we have our first guest. People have been telling us we should have guests. Should we announce who, or should we leave that? Let's leave that fact dangling.
Okay, let's leave it dangling.
But tune in next week for our first guest on the show.
Wow, you're right.
But you got to make sure this technology.
Yeah,
you got to make sure this.
I was about to say, don't throw it out there yet.
Yeah,
until we call him.
If we don't have a guest, it just means Joe hasn't figured out how to bring in a guest.
I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Cool. So today,
so you have a really uplifting topic to talk about. Our first week back after a few weeks.
You're right.
Live shows, and Joe hits me with, "Hey, I know what I want to talk about: dying." Great.
Okay, to be fair, it's actually a user-generated topic. It comes from our friend James Moore. You know him.
James Moore, who attended one of the workshops. Did he come to two as well?
I was about to say it was one of the earliest.
I think he came to one of the early ones. I'm sorry, James. I should have checked the stats.
Yeah.
I think he came to PHDJ 2 as well, and didn't, if I remember correctly, I think he just had a baby. So kudos to James Moore.
He did.
And that's maybe one of the reasons why James was inspired to ask a question about legacy planning and life insurance and things.
Yeah.
Like that. It is not exactly an uplifting topic, but it is one of those things you should talk about.
It's 100% needed. We all need to talk about it. So the topic is, guys, or he wrote in, Joe and Mike, I want to plan for the worst. And then kind of parentheses, how much life insurance should I have? What would I do if I died? Who would do my gigs, take care of my company, family, et cetera, et cetera. So James Moore, thank you for the topic. Yes, it's a little bit morbid, but I just want to dive into it a little bit, Mike, and open the discussion, if you will, on some points from my guy that handles all my stuff, that works for Northwestern Mutual here. A guy named Sean Fitz. I'm not trying to plug him or Northwestern Mutual or anything like that, but I will open this by saying exactly what he told me. Regardless of what you have or don't have, the best thing that you can do for yourself, whether you're single, whether you have a family of 10 kids, whatever, is speak to a professional certified financial planner.
No doubt.
And the resource he gave for that is CFP, as in certified financial planner.net. So if you guys, don't have anything insurance wise, you feel like you're unprepared for the worst, visit that resource. I'm assuming what you do is probably type in your zip code, and it's going to give you all the people in your area that you could possibly want to speak to, and then just make an appointment. I have never. Obviously, those guys make money when you buy products and insurance from them on a monthly basis, but there's no cost whatsoever to go sit down with somebody for an hour and tell them your current situation. So
right. And oddly enough, you just threw out the name Northwestern Mutual, and we didn't talk about this beforehand.
No.
A number of years ago, Kelly and I got our insurance situation straightened out.
Okay.
And we just happened to sit down with a wonderful man locally, James McCarthy, and I had to verify it before. That's why I was looking off screen if you're watching the video. And he also manages a Northwestern Mutual account. So you and I are both insured by Northwestern Mutual.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we can get them on as a sponsor. We're mentioning.
Damn, we're getting huge.
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick sobering story.
Yeah.
Kelly and I, there was a DJ in New Jersey right around my age, maybe a couple years older than me, who passed a few years ago. And it was one of those situations. Kelly, I think we were married or maybe just about to be married. And we were online at the wake. And it was one of those, when somebody dies young, it's the wake. Typically, it took us like 45 minutes to get from the parking lot into the building. It was that crowded. And on that line, we both realized, hey, we don't have life insurance, and we should.
Oh, wow.
I don't want, if God forbid anything happens to me, I don't want Kelly to be left not taken care of, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So when we met with this James McCarthy, basically my message was, I want enough insurance to take care of Kelly, but not enough to give her incentive. Like, I don't want 20 million. I don't need 20 million where Kelly starts going,
where she stages like a slip and fall with some Dawn outside the shower.
She's making me bacon sandwiches every night going, here, no, Mike, eat up. Yeah, exactly. So that's probably not a good way of looking at life insurance, but that was my message.
I think Ainsley could be in that category of overinsured. She may be incentivized to be honest.
It's a different story for you.
I got kids, right?
Yeah. So you not only have to take care of your wife, but you have to take care of children.
That's correct.
And plan for their future. Kelly and I don't have to set too much aside for our pups. So
That's true.
What we needed, basically we planned to have enough to pay off our mortgage.
Yep.
And take care of each other. But again, we both have careers, so it's not like we needed the, millions and millions of dollars.
So speaking of, so there's really two products that you want to look at, and again, we're just going to give the broad overview of this because again, Mike and I are not certified financial planners. We are business owners, entrepreneurs, and DJs at the end of the day. But life insurance, just like Mike said. So, like my guy said, Sean said, even if you're single, you need life insurance. You never want to leave somebody holding the bag if you unexpectedly pass away. Right. And what he suggested is your life insurance amount should be about 10 times your annual earnings.
I just love when you say the word 10.
10.
I want
10.
I want to make sure
Everybody
every
does.
week we work the word 10. If you're a Howard Stern listener, you know 9 is their number.
9, yes.
Baba Booey mispronounced Noin. So if you're Howard Stern, it's 9. If you're a PHDJ podcast listener, it's 10.
10.
I just want to work 10.
9.
All right. So how many times?
10 times your
10
annual
times
earnings.
Your earnings. Okay.
So that's a really good starting point for that. The other thing that you need to do, and I don't know, Mike, if you and your guy talked about this, and I think I've had life insurance for quite a while and a will for quite a while. And again, I think that it was something, 13 years ago. As soon as I had kids, I was like, okay, this is, and I'm not just out here, wandering around taking care of myself. I've got 4 of us now. But it's protecting your income. So I'm sorry, I'm just looking at some notes. I.e. disability income. So if you get sick, like James says, what if you get hurt? What if you broke both your hands in a car accident or something like that? Again, even if you're single and you're not supporting somebody else, how are you going to make money, or how are you going to have income coming in? Now, listen, I mean, it's a little bit of a different situation for Mike and I, because we have these multi-op companies that we've built over the last 25, 30 years, and we have systems in place and we have DJs, but at the end of the day, and Mike has spoken about this extensively over the past year since Kelly went back to doing something she actually loves, and left the corporate world. He's had to make up a little bit of the income that she lost. And even myself, I've, recently looked at our numbers and said, what am I really, responsible for here in terms of bringing in this annual money? And it's a good portion of it. So, you want to be covered in that event to have this disability insurance. It's not very expensive at all. Again, they can help you work through exactly what you need. And again, see a certified financial planner. And then I guess there was really a third part that Sean mentioned, Mike, and I'm sure you probably have something saved away, or at least trying to, like I do, and then you get to one of those $11,000 payroll days and you realize you had nothing saved. But you got to save something. And so for me, it's I think I have a Roth IRA or something like that. For you guys that are subcontractors, obviously, you're having to set aside money out of whatever you're making to pay your taxes, but maybe add another 10 or 15% to it. I don't even see that, Mike, because I know that I think I have them pull $750 a month out and put it in this account. Again, there are tax advantages to it. There are savings advantages to it. They can go to totally different products. Like if you wanted to have that $750 go $375 to one child, $375 to the other towards a college fund, you can do that. But you gotta plan for the future. You gotta save something.
Yeah, I know you don't stay on top of the news as much as I do, which is probably to your advantage. It's pretty depressing out there.
It's depressing,
but,
right?
I mean, there has been news in the last week or so about how insolvent Medicare and also Social Security is. Now,
what do you mean by that? What does that mean?
In other words, if we don't make changes to it, I think it was the year 2032, which is just about the time when I'm going to start collecting. Social Security will become insolvent. It will run out of money.
Oh, geez.
Now, obviously, I think our politicians will make some changes to it, but we all need to prepare for the fact that the system that was set up 50, 70 years ago.
For our grandparents and even
exactly.
parents.
When people lived till this age and there were so many people paying into it, made sense. But, things have shifted so much in a generation where, first of all, people live a lot longer. And because of that baby boomer generation, there are so many more people collecting Social Security than there are people paying into it, that at the current rate, Social Security is going to run out of money. So the bottom line is, if you think that just paying into Social Security your entire career is it going to set you up for retirement? You're absolutely wrong. You need to, especially in your big earning years, you need to set aside a portion of it, put it into some, and like you said, there are some tax advantages.
Yeah.
And I'm not an accountant.
Me neither.
So I don't even want to spit out the stuff that is and isn't.
Right.
Sit down with a professional. But there are tax advantages to putting money aside now that you can't touch until your retirement years. And I also know for you that your kids can't draw on until college, things like that. Look into it and sit down with a professional. But do it. Get disciplined now because, if you know anything about interest, the earlier you start, the better off you are. If I had started in my 20s,
man, don't get me started.
Yeah. And listen, I'm glad I started in my 40s as opposed to waiting. A lot of people wait till their 50s and 60s. So, I do have now a good 10 plus year nest egg built up.
Nice.
But yeah, if I had started back in my 20s, sure. But, I was too busy. As all people. And listen, I can't blame any 20-year. When you start making money right out of college, you're not thinking. I mean, the future retirement, it seems so far off. I get it. Believe me, I get it.
I'm telling you, man, it especially in college, when I was fortunate enough to where my parents said, we're going to send you to this state university that you want to go to. And we're going to, as long as you graduate in 4 years, not a day longer, we're going to pay for it. And, and I was working 4 nights a week, making $500 a night cash.
Right.
With $4,000 a month. I mean, and you're in school, everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
So I was an idiot. I mean, like you said, we would be multimillionaires now if we had just put that money away.
Right.
But I was making it rain and having a good time.
Too much fun. But at least what I look at is at least I didn't accumulate a ton of debt in my 20s. And I know a lot of people who do that as well. I've always been debt averse, and I've never run up credit cards, and I've always kind of gotten that concept from early on.
Yeah.
Still to this day, Kelly and I don't carry any credit card debt. The only debt we have is our mortgage. We don't have car payments or anything else. So, I've always been kind of like, no, I don't want that kind of debt. So that I might not have saved like I should have in my 20s and 30s, but at least I didn't get to 40 and go, how am I going to pay off this $50,000 credit card?
Right.
At least I didn't have that.
I think I went through that some in my 30s for sure. And now I'm back
you seem like more of a risk taker. I mean, you've started a lot of businesses and no matter what, when you start a business, sometimes you got to take out a loan or accumulate debt. A lot of people do it on their credit cards, which is kind of foolish, but if it's the only debt you can get at that point. So you've started more companies than I have, so I'm sure that's a big part of it.
It is. It is. So
speaking of which, you were just bragging about necklaces. Did you? I don't know if you know.
I see you. Where did you get that? Iceland?
I got this in Iceland. It's like a Viking runic symbol.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of them, and this one means higher self.
Okay.
So I picked that one out.
You retired the Prince symbol or the?
Retired the Prince symbol a number of weeks ago. It was literally falling off my neck. And I definitely leave the house without a necklace from time to time. I know you said recent post that you never do.
Yeah.
But so I noticed I like to wear them higher than you do.
Yeah.
You're a dangler.
I'm a dangler. Yeah. I'm a dangler.
Well, I tend to wear them inside my shirt.
Right.
So
I'm outside.
That's why I kind of like, you're an outside.
I'm swinging.
Boy, we've taken turn. You can tell I'm just trying to get off the death topic.
Yes.
Like, I'll do anything to not talk about our own mortality.
I agree, man.
I guess it helps believe in an afterlife that you don't mind dying so much.
It is a morbid topic. But listen, I hope we covered.
James.
Yeah, thanks, James. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hold on. There's one other glaring thing that he talked about, and that is who does your gigs.
Right. Okay.
So you have a plan in place at Bunn DJ Co. Mm-hmm. If Joe Bunn, God forbid, steps in front of a bus tomorrow, if Mike Walter, if the plane had gone, I don't want to say that because Kelly now. Yeah. If I had stepped off one of those cliffs I was on 2 weeks ago,
right?
Who does your gigs?
Well, again, kind of going back to a earlier topic that I was touching on, Mike. I mean, you and I have built these companies and these systems, where you've got Tom or Dom and who's in the office again? I always
Chris. Tom is top guy.
Yeah. So you've got guys that know. Again, there it is again. DJ event planner. They know how to book shows. They know how to take in money. They know how to send. Pay the guys and everything else that got done while you were in Iceland for 2 weeks with minimal Wi-Fi service. Again, I've got Randy here kind of as a right-hand man. I've got, one or two other people that know enough to keep the company running.
And
now,
so you're confident that there will be enough replacements on your side. In other words, you don't have a replacement set aside for each one of your jobs.
I don't.
And neither do I.
No,
I mean,
right.
I'm assuming every time I book a job, I'd like to assume that I'll be alive to do it.
Same.
And healthy and able to do it. But I mean, I had a medical situation last year, and I had to reassign to events, and fortunately, I had people in place that stepped in and did a great job, and got compliments and got wedding wire reviews, even 5 stars. So, I'm just confident that, God forbid, myself or anybody on staff, whatever, I hate to even say the word out loud, that we would have enough depth. So if you're a single op, is there a plan in place, or do you just say, hey, man, if I die, I die, and,
well, for us,
clients are going to be scrambling.
For us, going back to what you were saying about a multi-op, I mean, even on big weekends, like for some reason this past Saturday was huge for us, I still had a guy or two open. You know what I mean? Not necessarily intentionally, but I always leave at least one open.
I talk to a lot of business owners about blocking days off, and it's always good for your own health and physical health and mental health. I was supposed to have this coming weekend off, and one of my DJs had a medical emergency.
Yeah.
I'm stepping in and doing his event. So who better to have as a backup
than the owner?
When I called that client and said, look, I'm sorry, this guy can't do your event, I'm going to step in. They were thrilled. They were like, well, we wanted you in the beginning. Well, great. I blocked the weekend off. But so taking days off as an owner sometimes can be great. Who's a better backup than you?
And going back to your point about the single op, Mike, I mean, and this just happened here, a DJ that I knew, not real well, took his own life recently here. So we've had to do a lot of his shows. He was actually a single op, extremely busy, and once I saw his contract, I kind of realized why. He was just way underpriced. But at the same time,
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say that's why he took his own life.
No, man, come on. No, I'm not that. Come on, I'm not that callous.
That's not. But
I just noticed.
I thought you were just going down that path.
No.
Like, is Joe saying he underpriced himself to the point of suicide? Is that what Joe was talking about?
He did not.
No.
There was some just dark things going on with him, I think, and. But I saw these contracts from the wedding planners, that caught us scrambling, and these are coming up really soon. So we were able to step in, and we did them for the same amount, and I feel like all was well with that. But my point is, with James, man, listen, everybody's got competition. Mike's got more competition in his area with the talent that surrounds him than probably maybe any area in the country. To be completely frank, or either maybe I just know a ton of DJs in New Jersey, but
no, I think we have more competition in New Jersey.
I really do. It's unbelievable.
But it keeps us sharp. It keeps us on our game. You literally can't take it. You cannot ever put your feet up. And exactly. So yes, you're right. If we couldn't cover an event within Elite, I have enough. And when you say competition, yes, they're competitors, but many of them are good friends.
Yes,
and people we network with, and we could go outside the company and get events covered that way as well. And similar to yourself, it wasn't a suicide situation, but we've had people in the area pass, and we've stepped in and covered events and taken over contracts. So if you're a single op, I don't think there is a way to plan for it other than, I know I cut you off, but you were about to say, just network, create a good enough network so that, God forbid something happened, people would be happy to step in.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's just respect. It's mutual respect. Have that list in your pocket, that emergency list that that you can call, whether they're single ops or multi-ops or whatever. I mean, I still have a dozen DJs in this area that are in my phone, currently that I could call for whether it was a piece of gear that I was missing or, needed somebody to step in with an emergency DJ. I feel like any of them would step up. And we have stepped up for each other when somebody had a baby or somebody was hurt in an accident or somebody got robbed and lost all their gear. We've stepped up for each other, and I think that that's a lot to do with just respect and being friendly with your competition.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anything else you want to add, Mike?
This is too depressing.
Heavy. I know. Next week we got a guest. We have a guest.
Yeah, we have a guest that's going to be much happier.
There's going to be a new intro.
Exactly. Right.
Awesome.
So welcome to our new sponsors. And here's a great topic.
And here's a topic from
it's a downer, but it is important.
Rodney's Coffin Company.
Yeah, you should think about while you're alive and kicking.
Absolutely, guys. Plan for the future. And thanks for listening. As always, subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a comment. We'd appreciate it. And keep on listening.
That's it. Thanks.
Later, Mike.